YouTube fam? It's your girl Leah, back again with another video. In today's video, as you can see from the title, it's just a video I'm going to title, what do I think of every single crochet hair brand out there? Meaning, which do I think have the best colors? Which ones I think are the best maintenance-wise? Which ones I think just have the best overall variety of the hair that you can find in stores? Now, you guys know I have stopped giving non-black owned brands my time of day, but I have been on Clubhouse recently, and every single day except for Sunday at 1 p.m. black beauty supply stores get together, about 100 of them get together and just discuss what's going on in their industry, how to grow, how to better themselves. And what I've learned from this chat, although you guys know I don't own a beauty supply store, I love it from a content creator standpoint because it lets me know what brands are carried in black owned beauty supply stores. Now, some have the big three. The big three are Outre, Sensational, and Shake and Go Freetress, but a lot of them don't, unfortunately. And you guys know that's what prompted me saying, oh no, I'm not going to give them the time of the day when they have not given us the time of the day. But some stores do have those brands. So I did want to make today's video just in case you're in a store and you ain't got time to watch a Lia Lavon video to find out which particular hair is the best, but you want to know overall what brands can I not go wrong with. Like, if a store has this brand, am I going to be on the losing end or the winning end of hair selection? So that's what today's video is going to be. I do want to start this video off saying this is my opinion. Everything I share on my channel is my opinion, but everything I share in today's video is especially my opinion based on the crochet hair that I've tried for almost the over 5 years that I've had this channel. The next thing, these are going to be brands that are found in stores, not a lot of the online brands that I've tried. You guys know, like the trendy tresses and all those. These are going to be store brands that you can find in a brick and mortar store. This video is not going to be in any particular order, so I'm not going to have, you know, number one be the best ever brand and end with the worst ever brand. It's going to be in no particular order. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. And the first thing we're going to start by saying is, if you do go in a beauty supply store, if you are somebody who goes into the brick and mortars and you buy your crochet hair that way, a lot of times nowadays, it didn't used to be this case maybe 5 years ago, but they have the mannequin heads now that have the crochet hair on them. It used to be reserved for wigs. Mannequin heads were for wigs only. They did not take the time to showcase crochet hair, but now since crochet hair is a thing and people love them some crochet hair, I've seen in more stores the actual mannequin heads. Now, if you're going into a store, I highly encourage you, although it's great that they have the mannequin heads now, don't judge what you're going to get in the pack based off of that mannequin head. And that's for two reasons. One, pre-COVID, people used to run their fingers through those hair. Now, maybe even post-COVID, some people do. I would be a little bit scared because I don't think the stores are sanitizing everything, but people would run their fingers through it, meaning that it would change the kind of texture of the hair. A hair that might have been softer when it was in the pack is now on the mannequin head being rubbed constantly and being changed into a rougher texture until the length is off on those mannequin heads. Again, with people running their fingers through it, it's pulling the hair down, and it can be a lot longer than what you're going to actually get in the package. And I say this because with the Made Beauty Fantasy Pop hair that I've tried on this channel, when I was in the store, I was looking at the mannequin head, that hair looked a lot longer than when I actually put it in my head. It was a little bit shorter than on the mannequin head, which, me being a creator, I should have known these things, but just for you guys as FYI, when you go into a store, perfect and great that they have those mannequin heads, but it can change the texture, the dimension of the curls, the definition, the length, everything can be different. The one thing that's probably constant is the color with the hair on the mannequin heads. So the first brand that I want to talk about is Freetress. Now, I told you guys I was not having this video in any particular order, and that is a fact. But I do have to say, Freetress is the brand I probably tried the most on this channel, and I will say it is a hair that is heavily found in a lot of stores, a lot of Korean owned stores. It's not in as many black owned stores, although some have accounts. A lot of them don't, unfortunately, just because they are very strict with their rules, which I wish they would do better, but this isn't about that. They are in a lot of beauty supply stores. They have a good price point. They're not overly expensive. They have a good variety of curls. They have a good amount of color options. And I really do have to say, Freetress, you can't go wrong with a Freetress hair. Now, when I ranked and I had my rankings video, I think I maybe had 11 hairs on that rankings. About 8 of them were good. And I actually started that video with the fact that I don't think Freetress overall is a bad brand. I think they have a lot of good wins. I think if you're in the store and you have not, again, watched my crochet hair videos and you're like, what hair do I get? What hair do I get? If you start off with the Freetress brand hair, I think you're going to be in the right place. I think whether you get that deep twist or that water wave or that bohemian braid or anything, I think you're going to be in a good spot. Now, I will say as a brand, I can definitely tell that they put their R&D dollars not only to their wigs, because they do spend a lot for their wigs, they also spend a lot for their crochet hair. They're constantly innovating, whereas some of the other brands that I'm going to list on today's list might not keep up with the trends as much as other brands. I think Freetress changes a lot. They put their money towards their wigs and they put their money towards their crochet hair both equally. So that is a plus with the Freetress brand. Now, again, like I mentioned, they're not as heavily found in Black-owned beauty supply stores, and I have found out what the reasoning behind that is, and I have found out that if they are, it's because sometimes they have gone through a third-party distributor who is not Shake and Go, who's the parent company of Freetress. They've gone to another distributor, and whereas maybe a Korean-owned store, the price point for Freetress hair is $4.99 a pack, it might be in a Black-owned store for $6.99 a pack because they had to go third-party, so their markup has to be a little bit higher. So again, I highly encourage you, if you do want some Freetress hair, to go to the Black-owned beauty supply stores so that you can beef them up, one, and don't be shocked if the price is a little bit higher. Again, now being a part of these Clubhouse chats, I have a greater understanding of what goes on behind the scenes. It doesn't make me any less mad at these brands, but I do get an understanding of what goes on behind the scenes. So again, Freetress, don't think you can go wrong with them. Now the next brand, Outre. Now I have been on a lot of calls recently, and I've called this brand Outre forever, and I've heard this president, CEOs, executives of this company call it Outre. And I'm almost 100% sure the real name of this company is Outre, but nonetheless, your girl's still gonna call it Outre because that's what's ingrained in my mind. Outre is a brand that I've tried a few times on this channel, from the Bahamas curls to the deep twist, to the bohemian braid, to the kinky curly, to the blowout straight. I have tried several Outre hair, and what I will say about them, as compared to the Freetress brand, they're not as innovative. I don't think Outre puts a lot of their R&D dollars behind crochet hair. I think Outre has put a major focus behind their wigs, which they come out with a new wig every other week. 5 versions of the Nisha, this, that, and the third. They will come out with a new wig. They are not as innovative with their crochet hair, their loose crochet hair. Now, they do jump on trends when it comes to crochet. So, passion twist and bomb twist. They probably gonna get butterfly lock soon. They'll jump on a trend, but they will not put a focus on their loose hair like Freetress has. Now, when you're going to an Outre, they have some goods, they have some bads. Unlike a Freetress, where I think 90% of the time you're gonna have a good hair on your hands, I think with Outre it might be like 70 to 60 maybe. You're gonna have a good hair in your head. The thing I will say is their selection, again, not as diverse and not as big as a Freetress. Their hair color option, if you're somebody who doesn't like the standard 1B, 1, 2 type thing, Outre isn't as good about that as Freetress is. But I think Outre, about 60 to 70% of the time, you're gonna get a good hair if you just choose at random. So the next brand, Harlem 125 Kima. I never know what to call it, but I'm going to call it Harlem 125 Kima. Insert hair here. I've tried the Cripple Deep. I've tried the Brazilian Twist. I've tried the Soft Dread. I've tried several hair from this brand, and the one thing they all have in common is they are rougher textures than most any brand that I've ever tried. All their hair have a consistent level of roughness, which is not a bad thing. I actually prefer it a little bit. I'm not somebody who goes hard for your soft crochet hair. If the hair is soft, I'm typically like, what is this? I don't want this. This is not meant to be this way because it's synthetic. Every brand that I'm listing right now is synthetic, and synthetic hair, the softer it is, it's not really the longevity of a lot of hairs. It's sometimes can get frizzy, can get tangly a lot quicker than your rougher texture hair, which is why I overall enjoy the texture of the Harlem 125 Kima brand. It's really a great texture, but again, not everybody loves that rougher texture, so just go into it knowing that you might not have the softest of hair, whereas a trendy tress, I'm going to just bring in trendy tress for a minute, a lot of their hair have a tendency to be overly soft. You're not going to get that with a lot of the Harlem 125 hair. Also, you're not going to get a wide variety of color selection. Now, recently I've seen them go into like a mint lavender green type of a vibe, which is okay. At first, I only knew them to be like a 1B, 2 to 4 and all that. Recently, I've seen they've gotten to the ombre, but more recently, I've seen them go into like the weird colors, which aren't weird. I know there's somebody out there who's like, I love this color, but I was like, who asked for this? Like, go into like a 33, a 99J first. Dip your toes in some 6s and all that before y'all go too crazy. But again, I don't know where our Harlem 125 team spends their marketing dollars, because I don't see as many wigs, but I don't see them creating a lot of new crochet hair. Like, their crochet hair, they'll come out with a diva curl, or they'll come out with a jazzy curl, but then it'll disappear all of a sudden, and I can't find it literally anywhere. So it's like they'll dip their toe into a hair and then be like, uh-oh, no, we want to pull back from it. And so that's why I was a little bit more reserved with the hair I would try from them. I would try their staple hair and not their new hair, because sometimes I would see it and then I wouldn't see it forever, and it'd be hard to find on several different sites. So again, I definitely say a good brand. I think they could do wonderful things like with the Freetress beach curl hair and make it their own in their own texture. But I think they need to just stick with it. Like, they have their Ripple Deeps, they have their Ocean Wave, they have their OGs. I think if they bring in some new hair, but keeping the rough consistency of their hair, I think they could come up with some interesting kind of hair. They just haven't done that, which is surprising to me. Now the next brand, Sensational, which I'm gonna also lump in Lulutress, because Lulutress is up under Sensational. It's their crochet hair moniker. I think they used to release crochet hair under Sensational, and they still do have a lot of sensational hair, like the Sensational Jamaican Bounce and all that, but I think they've wanted to streamline it, so Sensational be their like wig hair, and then Lulutress be their crochet hair umbrella. So the thing I'll say about Lulutress is they got some wins and they got some misses. Whereas other brands might have a 70 to 30%, I think Lulutress is about a 50-50. A 50-50 chance that it's going to work out and it's going to be all right. I've heard from some stylists that they actually dislike heavily using Lulutress hair. They hate it when a client brings Lulutress hair in. Again, my experience has been a little different. Whereas I like an island twist, their beach curl wasn't my favorite hairs. It's been a little torn between the two. The one thing I will say about them too is that they got to get their 27 together. Maybe since recording this they've gotten it together, but when I first looked at Lulutress, their 27 color looked way too yellow. And if you're familiar with 27 is a color blonde. With synthetic hair, some people get 27 right and some people get it wrong. And with Lulutress, it's been a hair by hair cases. Like, some of their 27s on their hairs look good, like a good ombre. I love a good 1B27, but I don't want to be a black and then going into a yellow. I want it to be a very cute blonde color. And with Lulutress, I can say in the past, it'd be some yellows and it'd be some bronzes, and it'd be like, what is this? No ma'am. And the same thing can be said about Freetress too. Their 27s back in the day was not hitting the way I think they might be hitting now. But I guess Lulutress, sensational brand, about 50-50 split. Now the next brand, Model. Such a divisive brand when I started with my crochet hair journey, because I had heard so many people tell me Model trash, y'all. Model is so trash. Model is a trash brand. Don't try no Model. And this was from people in my real life. This was like when I was first starting to review crochet hair, and they were like, what hairs are you trying? Well, girl, don't try Model because that brand is trash. And so I avoided them for quite some time. I think even in my first Model crochet hair review, I tell you guys in that video, y'all, I had heard bad things, so that's why I hadn't tried it in the last year. But then I realized my channel is about trying the good and the bad, so I gotta be the one to try it for myself to be able to make up my own opinion. Now the first Model hair I did try was trash, but I've tried some good hair in this time frame. I've tried the Model Fresh One Curl, which is one of my favorite hair. It's such a beautiful hair, and it's a way different texture than some of the other hair I've tried. So I'll say this, Model got some dust. They got some hair that ain't worth it, but then they got some hair like the Fresh One, like the Beach Twist, like the Valley Wave, that are actually really good hair. So just like I said about Lulutress 50-50, I think Model is 50-50 too. I think they have some good players on the team, and then they got some duds on the team. Now Bobbi Boss is a little bit different of a brand. I've only tried one hair on this channel, which ironically is discontinued, but that one hair was actually really good. Now Bobbi Boss is a brand that in stores, it doesn't really showcase their full variety of what they have on their site. With every brand that I'm talking about today, before I came on this camera, I checked out their sites to see what they were carrying on their site. I saw about 60 crochet hair from Bobbi Boss on their site. I've been in stores and I've only seen 3. I've only seen 4. I've seen stores that only had hair that was discontinued. Like, I haven't seen the wide variety that Bobbi Boss totes on their website in actual stores. And I've heard again from these chats that Bobbi Boss can be a little bit more expensive to have and to carry in your stores, from the wigs to their crochet hair. So that may be why I haven't seen it in a lot of brick and mortar stores. But I think if Bobbi Boss could get in more stores, they're not a bad hair. I think they have good quality and good color selection. It's just, where are they found? And you might be laughing because you might have them in abundance in your stores near you, but I think it's just geographically where they're located and what the stores can afford. If a store can afford a Freetress, they can buy out and pack out a Freetress, whereas Bobbi Boss might cost them wholesale a lot more than a Freetress will, if that makes sense. And I think Bobbi Boss uses a lot of their marketing dollars to promote their wigs, not as much their crochet hair, because they probably just think our crochet hair will speak for itself, and it really not speaking for itself. So again, Bobbi Boss, I think, a good brand. I just think that it's harder to find in a lot of brick and mortars, outside of maybe one loose hair and the new locks. The new locks are their hair that they love to push, but their loose hair, not so much. Now, Janet Collection, a brand that I think they do push a lot of their money towards their wigs, and they don't push as much to their crochet hair, because I've only tried 2 on this channel. One were locks and one was a hair that was crappy in the sense of the texture was just so loose. It was such a loose, very much so silky texture hair, and that doesn't work for crochet. Silkier the hair, the more it will slip out, and it's harder to knot. It's just a harder overall hair. I hope they stop making that brand of hair, because I don't see it around that much. But Janet Collection is a brand that I think it's hit or miss. I think it's about 40-60. 40% of the time you might have a winner. 60% of the time you might have a loser on your hands with Janet Collection. So there are brands that I would prefer more. If you're in a store and you see Janet Collection, I'm not saying run, because I did like those Mambo locks, but with their loose hair, it's a little different. Now, Zuri. I might be flawed because I've only tried one and I hated that one, but that Zuri one pack is enough is trash to me. I don't get along with it. And I know people out there love that one pack is enough. I know there's so many people out there like, I love my 8, 9, 10 one pack is enough from Zuri. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's not good. And it's not good. Zuri can keep it. Zuri can keep it. And I know they make other hair other than the one pack is enough. They make like regular loose hair that you buy multiple packs of and install the normal way. It's like I don't even want to give them a chance because I hated that Congo curl so much. But if you want to, go ahead. Again, everything I said is my opinion, but Zuri is a brand that can be skipped. Their color selection, they sometimes come out with the icy blue. They'll have all these regular colors in an icy blue. I'm like, just can you give me like a normal? Can I get like a 30? Can I get like a 33, 36, a 6, a blend, like a good color blend? Please no. Please none of this. Now the next brand, Rasta Free. Now that's what hair I have in right now. I have in some pre-stretched braiding hair right now. So this is the braiding hair. It's a beautiful B1B 30 color right now. Rasta Free as a brand, love their color selection. Out of every hair that I'm talking about on this list, Rasta Free color selection, nothing beats it. They have the color selection game down pat. Any color you could think of, they got it. When I was thinking about what hair I was going to use to achieve these twists, no questions asked it was going to be Rasta Free, because I was like, well, my hair is colored, I dyed it a certain way. What brand is going to carry the hair color I need? Rasta Free got it. And Rasta Free is a hair that can be found in your brick and mortar stores just on the West Coast, though. They have not made it over here to the East Coast, which come over here. We have open doors over here on the East Coast. But the thing I will say about their loose hair, that is not their braiding hair, is good color selection too, just way too soft and way too much medium maintenance. Again, I've only tried 2, the Pond Curl and their Jamaican Curl. The Jamaican Curl I loved because it was a beautiful color match to my hair at the time. Just again, medium maintenance. The Pond Curl, loved that was H2O, activated. It was perfect for your swimming and your beach and your water type activities. Again, medium maintenance. So I want to try more from this brand because they are Black supported. They have a Black creative director. They got a Black woman on their pack. They show their creators some love. They will put their stuff in every Black owned beauty supply store. They give grants and money to the Black community, and they have done that for years. So not even just in recent times to keep up with the recent trends. They have been doing this forever. So that's why I showcase them, and they're probably the only brick and mortar hair that I've really worn in the last 8 months since making this transition. But again, just like with anything, I just got to try more because it's 0-2 with the loose hair I tried. I really like this pre-stretch braiding hair, but pre-stretch braiding hair is hard to really mess up. Loose hair, got to give them more opportunities to get it right. Now, Mady, I had tried that Mady Fantasy Pop hair. Mady is a brand I've seen in some stores, haven't seen in a lot of stores. I think I've seen them more around the last 2.5 years. They've been kind of more popular. The thing about it, I will say, is I didn't hate the first hair I ever tried from them. It's just there wasn't anything special about it. There wasn't anything special about this brand. They had about 5 options in the store. 3 were all short. 2 were kind of a longer hair option. Again, if you see a Mady hair in your stores, I'm not saying ignore it. I'm not saying, run from it. I'm just saying if your store got other things in there, just consider them first. Now, there are probably so many other brands that I did not mention on this list that can be found in stores. There are hairs that I haven't tried, like Motown Tress. I know a lot of people say, I have Motown Tress crochet hair in my beauty supply store. I have literally never been to a beauty supply store that had Motown Tress crochet hair. But again, that's my experience. It's all where you are geographically, what is heavy in your stores. My stores can be overrun with the Freetresses and models. Yours could have the Bobby Bosses and the Motown Tress. It just really depends. So I brought you everything that I personally had tried. If you liked today's video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Even if you didn't, still give it a big thumbs up. Why wouldn't you? We love all the love and support over here on this channel. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel so you don't miss anything that I do over here. And make sure you have that notification bell on because YouTube be janky sometimes. And it don't be letting y'all know what y'all need to be knowing. But if you have that bell on, you will be alerted when I upload a new video. Make sure that you are following me on Instagram at Lia Lavon 89 so you can keep up on my shenanigans in real time. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
This one no be private show. You don't know.